The Nothing Phone 3 is here, starting at $799, and we've got quite a bit of fun tech going on in this device. We've got a Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, crazy bright display, a periscope zoom lens, and Nothing's signature transparent design. But the real question is, does it actually compete with any of the other phones out here at this price point? So what's up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse. Welcome back to my channel, where we dive into tech that is smart, secure, and stylish. This phone comes in at two configs. $799 gets you 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. $899 bumps that up to 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. And in the box, you're actually getting a decent kit. You get the Phone 3, a clear case, which is right here. I have mine right here. Sorry, it's a little dirty. I've actually been using it quite a bit. There's also a pre-applied screen protector on the front. Thank you so much, Nothing. A USB-C cable and the SIM ejector tool. No charger though, so budget that in if you need a new one. If you have seen a Nothing phone before, which you should have if you've been subscribed to my channel because I've reviewed their previous phone too, you will instantly recognize this look. It's got the transparent back, but slimmer bezels and a slightly more refined frame. Size-wise, we are looking at a 160.6 millimeter tall, 75.59 millimeter wide, and 8.99 millimeter thick device. It weighs in at 218 grams, which feels pretty solid, but not overly chunky in your hand. I appreciate that quite a bit. The color choices are a classic white, which is the one I have in my hand here. They also have a black one. They're still very minimalist, still very futuristic, and it is IP68 rated, so it can handle dust and a dunk in the water. My cat is now here, so she's gonna be in the video with me. That's just how it goes. Now, I love Nothing phone designs. They are unique, they are unafraid, and they just plain have this odd experience in a good way. And this Glyph Matrix on the back is just so cool. It's super cool from a hacker aesthetic, this little design up here. So it's a round dot matrix display on the top back corner with an open SDK for third-party apps, but built in it has a clock, it has a spin the bottle mini game, a battery indicator, a stopwatch, plus there's a solar path tracker, a rock, paper, scissors game, and a couple of other cute little concepts. Now these are really fun. I think they're really cool and I love that little design, but I do think that the one that I find most useful is the battery indicator and the digital clock. I just don't find myself playing mini games, especially not like spin the bottle on the back of my phone too often, especially, you know, I'm married, so I don't really play spin the bottle as much as I love that design. That's very cool. But I do think the dot matrix display just kind of speaks to my 1990s childhood. Like, I want to build out fun little STK projects for it. It's so cool. But then you have the display, which is a 6.67 inch AMOLED display. It's protected by Gorilla Glass 7i with a resolution of 1260 by 2800 and 460 pixels per inch. Peak brightness is a whopping ridiculous 4500 nits. That's brighter than most that I see and that I get to review. The adaptive 120 Hz refresh rate and the crazy fast 1000 Hz touch sampling rate for gaming also make this a very promising option for mobile gamers. Scrolling feels pretty much buttery smooth. The HDR video looks stunning, and outdoors it's totally readable. Like, I can straight up take this thing to Colorado's most famous mountain. It's called Pikes Peak. And the screen was so easy to see in straight sunlight, way up high at 14,000 feet above sea level. So I was quite impressed with it. I also really like that you can control the refresh rate. You can choose between 60, 120, or dynamically adjustable rates in the settings. And you can also customize the color settings for more vibrancy. Now, if you're finding this video helpful, a subscribe is the easiest way to tell YouTube that you want to see more of my videos in your feed. It's also completely free. And if you want to take your support to the next level, you can join my s'mores and become a Patreon supporter or a YouTube channel member. You can join them and support my channel over at patreon.com/Shannon Morse, or you can just click the little subscribe and join button down below. That'll give you perks like early video access and my private Discord. Now, as usual, all the videos on my channel are free to watch, and I thank my YouTube members and my patrons for making that possible. Now for the part that you are probably most curious about, and that is going to be the cameras. So Nothing Phone 3 has 4 50 megapixel cameras. Yes, even the selfie camera is a 50 megapixel camera. So here are the specs on screen with all the details, so you can read those yourself with my cat. So the features on these cameras include their new True Lens Engine 4, Ultra XDR, Portrait Optimizer, Motion Capture, and all the usual suspects like Night Mode, Macro, and Action Mode as well. My experience was, I have to say, a little bit mixed. Photo colors were kind of flat and they felt off at times. Shadows were too dark and the photo seemed to have a little bit too much contrast. At other times, it seemed like shadowy areas were over brightened and the color felt kind of drained from the picture. So it wasn't as consistent as I was hoping for. Some of my photos look really great for social media, but I noticed that they weren't as sharp as I would have liked. However, my close-up macro shots of this ramen was gorgeous. Clear bubbles, clear ingredients, vibrancy of the colors. Macro shots are where this camera setup really shines, with very clear details, rich colors, and accuracy. I was able to capture some great selfies too, though I kind of noticed that my skin tone looks a little bit off, like it's almost bluish. I kept thinking that the lenses were leaning into the blue hues from the sky quite often with my pictures. The zoom photos were hazy and they came out a little bit soft around the subjects. It's pretty consistent across the board when it comes to smartphones to have zoom photos kind of look like potatoes, so I was not surprised here. Now for video, you get up to 4K Ultra XDR at 60 FPS, plus they have a slow-mo setting at 1080p 240 FPS. Audio was very crisp and very level, and the video was surprisingly stable when I was recording out of a car window on a very bumpy mountain road. It was cool. Inside is the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, which is built on TSMC's 4nm process. In daily use, it is flying. Apps load instantly, games are buttery smooth, and the thermal management really does seem solid so far. I have not seen major throttling, even when I was stress testing with Genshin Impact and 3D Mark. My benchmark scores were not as high as other devices that I'm currently reviewing, but this phone is also a few $100 less. Genshin played flawlessly with very low heat in high graphical settings too. This runs Nothing OS 3.5 on Android 15. It's very clean, it's very minimal, not bogged down with a bunch of bloatware. I love that. Think stock Android, but with some fun Nothing touches. Nothing's OS is very, very clean. It's very easy to use, and I've been very satisfied with the experience so far. Now, similar to Nothing's budget phone, the 3 also has that essential space and the button. These will sort out your audio notes and your screenshots and any pictures that you take, and more into an organized space of data that you may want to access from time to time. It's pretty cool, but I found myself not using it very much. The placement of the essential key has me hitting it, thinking that it's a power button too. You will get 5 years of Android updates and 7 years of security patches. That's good. It's not the best, but it is good. If Nothing increases that to 7 years of Android updates, then I will be a very happy camper. The usual 5G support, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6.0, all of those are included, and gladly we have support for dual SIM and eSIM both. For security, there's an in-display optical fingerprint sensor, and in my experience, it's very fast, it's very accurate. Speakers are symmetric stereo, and they're pretty loud, plus you've got 3 high-def mics for clear calls and video recording, and the audio in my videos and calls was great. Now the battery is a 5150 milliampere hour in our US market. It comes with a 65-watt wired fast charging, although you have to buy that charger separately, 15 watts of wireless charging, and you can do reverse charge for 5 watts wireless or 7.5 watts wired. In my battery drain test, I went from 100% to about 28% after about 14 hours, which is pretty good. You can certainly drain it faster with some serious gameplay or 4K video recording. Normal usage, not leaving your screen on all day long like I did, means you will get through a full day with no issues. So between the unique and fun design, the big battery and the fantastic charging speed, the lack of bloatware, and the fluid experience, this is a really enjoyable phone to use. It does not replace my daily driver. The cameras aren't my personal preference, and that's a big selling point point for me, but at this price point, it is a well-rounded device and very competitive. Are you a fan of nothing phones? I would love to hear what you think, so comment down below, and thank you so much for subscribing and for watching till the end. I'll see you next time. Bye y'all.